This is the Bosma Company Qinglong Binoculars. This is a truly exceptional Chinese premium binocular, meticulously positioned as a formidable killer of renowned German or Austrian top-tier brands.
Hello everyone, you're watching the Stock Red Zoom channel. Recently I published a video review focusing on modern and high-quality binoculars. You can find a link to that video right up here. And I understand that this topic is quite relevant. Unfortunately, at the moment, manufacturers aren't really spoiling us with truly high-quality Poro models of binoculars, especially those that are new and noteworthy, and for which numerous video reviews haven't yet been created. So today, we're presenting a roof prism binocular, which offers a rather interesting solution for anyone seeking something new and intriguing. You've probably already noticed that Chinese products have a significant impact on the optical device market, and in recent years they've made a quite substantial breakthrough in producing truly high-quality models. One such development was introduced by the Bosma company, though I probably won't risk pronouncing the model's name itself, although perhaps I'll give it a try. It's something like Qinglong 10 by 42 ED Apo. This is a premium binocular positioned as a killer of top-tier German or Austrian models. But is that truly the case? Let's find out. Without delving too deeply into the specifics of the Bosma brand, it's worth noting that it was founded back in the year 2000 and boasts a rather extensive range, not only of optical devices but also in other production areas. Currently, our focus is solely on optics, so among the crucial facts are their own production capacities, stringent quality control, and all other structural divisions essential for creating any binocular, spotting scope, optical sight, or telescope. And this fact is quite interesting because more expensive binocular models are often merely product customers, meaning that for your money, they can offer you any product in terms of quality and reliability. That is, what we have before us is a full-fledged manufacturer, much like Leica or Swarovski, complete with their own factories and personnel, just operating in a Chinese style, perhaps making things somewhat cheaper and simpler. So, what does the Bosma company offer the user in its premium binocular from an ergonomic perspective? No miracle has occurred here. What we have here is a rather bulky, heavy, yet moderately comfortable binocular, featuring a standard single-bridge design. The device's weight, even without any protective rubber, is 950 grams, and its dimensions are larger than those of the Zeiss Conquest, and significantly larger than the Zulu 8, which certainly doesn't add any advantages to this binocular. However, if you don't have a small hand, it will be quite comfortable to hold. Additionally, the manufacturer included shoulder harnesses in the delivery set, making it less difficult to use the binocular for extended periods. And among the strong points of the new Bosma, optics is definitely one of them. In my opinion, this is almost the only reason to pay attention to this model. Excellent eyepiece lenses provide a wide-angle image with a 70-degree eyepiece field of view and high-quality objective lenses, where the main component is Japanese Hoya HD, along with additional in-house manufactured lenses that form an apochromatic module with high resolution and minimal distortion. Personally, I didn't find anything particularly premium about the focusing wheel on this particular unit, but it also doesn't feel cheap, like on the Zeiss, for example. It offers moderate resistance when turning, good sensitivity, and the rubber inserts help ensure a quality grip on the wheel at any time of year, even when wearing gloves. But there are also some drawbacks. This particular binocular has an unpleasant friction when focusing at certain distances. When you turn the wheel, there's a bit of rubbing right at this spot. Maybe this will change over time and it's just uneven lubrication on the mechanism, or maybe it will always be like this and perhaps it will even get worse. As an example, you won't find anything like this in a Sig Sauer or even in premium branded binoculars like the Bushnell Forge, even though the latter was also made in China. A similar impression arises when interacting with the eyepiece assembly. You can see that the manufacturer seemed to want to make them decent, adding as many as 4 locking positions. But was it really worth it? That's a big question. Overall, when you unscrew these twists, you get a sense of cheapness. You just can't imagine it. I get the impression that in the SV Boni, the SV202, the twists are made much better. But here it's very, well, honestly, I don't like it. You really need to, for example, take the binoculars, twist them, and you'll feel it. And besides that, my first experience with the binoculars was, well, you take the binoculars out of the bag and before you look through them, you want to twist out these eye cups. And when I was twisting them out, I turned them all the way to the 4th position, and it started unscrewing completely. Well, that's not how it should be in a premium binocular, because that's your first impression, and the first impression of a binocular plays a very important role. Personally, I find it comfortable to look through these binoculars when the eye cups are fully extended because I like to press the binoculars right up to my eyes. But in that case, part of the field of view gets cut off. To actually get the full field of view to see everything, you need to set them to about the 1st or maybe the 2nd position. The package contents of these binoculars are really good. Here, the Chinese didn't skimp on the budget and provided the user with everything necessary and even more. Just look at this case. It has a shock-absorbing layer inside which protects the binoculars well. There's also a pocket here. You see there's a microfiber cloth, so there are absolutely no complaints about the case. It's made very well. The manufacturer also thoughtfully included a convenient shoulder strap and a practical smartphone adapter in the package. The diopter adjustment on these binoculars is nothing particularly out of the ordinary or exceptional. There's no distinct clicking sound when you carefully turn it, which is a common feature in many other models. Well, that's nice, and it adds a bit of a premium feel to the binoculars. Here you just turn it and get a sort of sliding plastic sound. The rather slippery topic of advantages over competitors with the new Bosma has most likely led to the lack of proper reviews of these binoculars on well-known platforms. Enthusiasts all over the world, whether in America or the UK, share their feedback on forums, but you won't find a full-fledged review from any more or less reputable website or blogger. At least I haven't found a single video review that clearly and objectively talks about this device. There may be several reasons for this. Firstly, in terms of optics alone, the Bosma performs quite well. A sharp and bright image, an extremely wide field of view, and minimal distortion. This is quite a high level. It can easily be compared to mid-range optics up to $1,000, and it will hold its own there. But when we go beyond just the optics, we keep running into small flaws, inconveniences, or even defects everywhere. The eye cups are uncomfortable and feel cheap. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, one of them simply unscrewed, which shouldn't happen with a binocular like this. The focus adjustment isn't perfectly smooth, with some grinding inside the wheel mechanism, or maybe even deeper inside. Tactilely, yeah, it's quite a decent binocular if you look at it and hold it from this side. But honestly, this fish scale pattern on the side here, well, I feel like it's kind of unnecessary here. They could have used a different pattern. And the binoculars are quite large in size. Well, let's be honest. The 6-hour Zulu 8 is much more compact, and the image quality is basically the same. The GPO is actually a very compact binocular and much lighter, so well, the weight and size are things you could debate for a long time. The only advantage of these binoculars, which might make you overlook all that, is the price. It's in the under $500 range, which makes these binoculars much more affordable for most people, unlike the Zeiss, which is twice as expensive. Thus, the new Bosma is a combination of excellent Japanese-Chinese optics and an imperfect, insufficiently tested, poorly designed body, which brings with it a whole range of consequences, from inconvenient use to potential future mechanical problems. So, in fact, the price of this device turns out to be quite justified, because while other manufacturers devote more attention and budget to quality control and identify problematic issues right on the assembly line or immediately after, Bosma has taken a different approach. They reduced the cost as much as possible, assigned a minimal number of people to check for only the most obvious defects, and left everything else to be dealt with by future users. In conclusion, I can recommend this model to anyone who is completely undemanding when it comes to reliability, convenience, size, and the quality of components in an optical device. If all you care about is good optics and you're willing to take the risk that, over months or perhaps years, additional problems, especially with the mechanics, may arise, then this is an excellent choice. For everyone else, personally, I would recommend, well, this is just my opinion, to double, or maybe not even double, just add a bit more money and look towards, for example, the 6-hour Zulu 8. It's very reliable, has excellent mechanics and really great optics. Just so you understand, with this binocular, if the eyepiece is all right, you really do get a wow effect, but only for a short time. So you take these binoculars, you look through them. Personally, I was shocked by the image quality, but I understand that over time, this binocular will inevitably develop mechanical problems. Perhaps that is precisely the boundary that most prominent bloggers are not willing to traverse when it comes to providing a comprehensive review of this particular model. Because saying something good about it means praising it and people will buy it. But then the large number of flaws in it will create a constant stream of dissatisfaction and complaints, which will inevitably affect the reviewers' reputations. And nobody wants that. I'm also not trying to tell you only the good things about this model. Like perhaps someone else might be sweet-talking about it. In fact, it's a very ambiguous specimen, and judging by reviews from around the world about it and its twin brother, the Sky Rover BannerCloud, this is a systemic issue, and from model to model you'll encounter different and random problems. And to wrap up this video review, well, of course I'll continue filming through this binocular. I also want to mention a very important fact about this binocular. I decided to do this right at the very end, after everything I've already said about it, namely about its main optical characteristics. It's 10 by 42. Well, at least that's what it says here. When I looked through it, I immediately realized that, well, the magnification here is a bit lower than what's stated, because I compared it with other binoculars I had at that moment, and decided to measure the objective lens diameter. I won't show you on camera because, well, I really don't want to accidentally scratch the lens, but it really is 42 millimeters. And now let's turn our attention to the exit pupil, which is a critical optical characteristic found within the eyepiece. In this specific instance, its approximate measurement appears to be around 4.5 millimeters, perhaps even approaching 5 millimeters. However, it's important to clarify that it is not precisely 4 millimeters, indicating a slight variation in its exact dimension. You see, it's also very hard to measure very precisely with a caliper. You can move it a little bit. There's probably not a 10-fold magnification here. Something like that. Well, about 9. When
I said that I had a wow effect from these binoculars. You'll understand in a moment. Honestly, the image through these binoculars is just really impressive. As I already mentioned, the field of view is extremely wide. You see, the phone camera in video mode doesn't allow you to capture the entire width from left to right. It creates a kind of strange effect. There are so many distinct and varied objects present within your field of vision that it creates an overwhelming sensation, making it incredibly challenging for your brain to effectively process and determine which specific item or area it should prioritize and concentrate its attention on. This isn't really a minus or a plus. It's just a wide-angle binocular, and over time, you get used to it. The binoculars have minimal distortion and minimal chromatic aberration. You can clearly see a little bit of it right at the very outermost edge. You can observe, down on the right-hand side, where there is a dark roof and a light-colored wall, you can just barely perceive a sort of subtle purple tint. Believe me, from my experience, I've had the chance to look through a lot of binoculars. Well, this chromatic aberration is really extremely minimal. If you're choosing binoculars for yourself and plan to use them just indoors, keeping them on a tripod, then of course you can pay attention to this. But if you are truly into active recreation, such as going hiking, climbing mountains, and constantly carrying your gear with you, well then, you really need to carefully consider and think it through thoroughly. Everything I've shared in this review is my personal impression. There's no advertising or bias here. It's just my experience and what I've observed compared to other binoculars I've used. Thank you all for watching the video. Don't forget, if you found this video to be truly informative and genuinely helpful, if you thoroughly liked what you saw, please do give it a big thumbs up, consider subscribing to our channel for more content, and we will certainly see you all next time.